And good evening and welcome to Centennial High School for tonight's Monday night girls lacrosse game. I'm Bill Hupp alongside my broadcast partner Blythe Whaley. And Blythe, couldn't be a nicer night out for a little Northwest Suburban Conference girls lacrosse.
Right, I know. When it comes this time of the year, when we get weather like this, it's a true treat. We know how many years we've had spring sports, rained out, snowed out, whatever it could be. But today is not a typical Minnesota day.
Yeah, you take these kind of days when you can get them. And tonight's contest here on North Metro TV will be the Spring Lake Park Panthers, who come to town with a record of 2-7 and 2-6 in the Northwest Suburban Conference, taking on the host Centennial Cougars, 7-2 coming in, 6-2 in conference play, bunched up at the top of the conference with Maple Grove, Champlain Park, and Andover. They currently sit fourth in the Northwest Suburban Conference. They have an 8-7 win over Andover, but they've lost to the leaders, Maple Grove, and they lost on Friday to Champlain Park by a score of 12-9. But a very young team, Blythe, as you and I talked about before the game. A lot of contributing sophomores, and these were girls that were contributing as 8th graders.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun to see them coming into this season, not missing a step. Of course, they didn't get to play last year, and so still having the success they had from that 8th grade season and bringing it to the stage this year.
It'll be Maddie Ngenia and Olivia Washin to do the draw to start this game. Centennial in the white jerseys with the red lettering and numerals, black shorts, and the visiting Spring Lake Park Panthers in the blue with the white lettering, numerals, and trim. We are underway at 77 and sunny as we get going here in Circle Pines, and Spring Lake Park controls the opening draw. Racing forward with it and passing it off. Controlling it here is Emily Nelson, the sophomore attack. She gives it near side. Tight defense being played by Centennial as the leading goal scorer, Maddie Ngenia, works at far side.
Yeah, Maddie Ngenia, a friendly face that we have got to call numerous games, of course, from basketball already this year, but fun to see her out on the field.
And you see that a lot, Blythe. Lacrosse is a game, obviously, that lends itself to athleticism, so it's no surprise to see Maddie Ngenia with her hand-eye coordination and her just general aggressiveness and skill being good at a sport like lacrosse. On the attack, the Panthers control, trying to weave her way through is Sarah Schwartz, the senior midfielder, and it's taken away by the Cougars, and now they'll race ahead in transition. Cougars get it into the offensive box. Pass down low, fed across. There's a shot and a goal. Quick score for Addison Slotsby, who's listed as a defender. The sophomore gets on the board on the attack tonight for Centennial.
Holy smokes, Centennial comes out of the gate kicking, but it's interesting, of course, they had to go back on defense for starters, but once they got the ball in that attacking part of the field, they were ready to make an impact.
Yeah, no question. Just great unselfish play. Couldn't exactly see who fed it across, but in transition, they were able to quick strike counterattack. Now, the delightful challenge of trying to read this scoreboard bathed in sunshine on the east end of the field tonight as off the draw, Ngenia, and again it's controlled by Spring Lake Park. So the Panthers at least winning the draws to start things as the captain Taylor Falvey gets it into the offensive zone. Now controlled by Emily Nelson. Gives it near side for Sarah Schwartz. She backs it out. Nelson. Behind for Abby Oman. Senior attack with a goal on the season. She passes it. And we have a whistle and a stoppage. It was in the stick of a Cougar, but now it'll be turned back over to Spring Lake Park. Madison Janey. A lot of seniors on this SLP Panthers squad, so certainly helps when you have to come on the road to play a tough conference opponent. Spinning away from pressure. Great outlet pass finds its way under the stick of Callie Cody. And the sophomore with 25 goals on the attack gives it off, and a goal. Ella O'Hearn, her team-leading 29th goal of the season, the sophomore, showing what she can do, and it all starts with speed, Blythe.
Yeah, transition game for Centennial is definitely the name of today, it seems. We've seen them rocket out of playing defense the other way in a matter of seconds to score a goal on the other end. So definitely holding down the defense as Spring Lake Park has possession, but making the seconds count when they get on offense.
Right. If you look at time of possession, yeah. Spring Lake Park has had the ball a good deal more than Centennial, but the Cougars have made them pay in transition the couple chances that they've had. So,
and it's no surprise to see O'Hearn get on the board, especially in these early moments. She had quite the game just last Thursday over at, I believe I was at Blaine. I'm trying to think what school where were they playing?
The games are coming thick and fast in this spring of 2021, but you called that game.
Yeah, you think I should be able to remember. It was just a few days ago.
Spring Lake Park on the false start by Centennial wins another draw, so they've won the first 3 draws, but as you can see here, the Cougars have forced the turnover. Scooping it up, I saw Champlin Park play, and they looked really good. O'Hearn puts on the brakes, cuts middle. Ella O'Hearn fires and scores.
Bingo, the goals keep coming. Like I said, O'Hearn put in quite a few last Thursday. Looks like she's on her way to do that again tonight.
We'll see if they give an assist to anyone. I think it's going to be unassisted for O'Hearn, her 30th goal of the season. So that's a nice little milestone.
For real, yeah.
She also leads the team in ground balls with 44. Listed as both an attack and a midfielder, just a sophomore. So you look at the sophomores, I mean, Nayla Haney is a junior, Ella O'Hearn a sophomore.
Callie Cody.
Yeah.
Another big one.
Anna Jarpy a sophomore, Callie Cody a sophomore. So just imagine what this Centennial team could be like in a couple years if they stay together. They're already good and threatening to become even better. And meanwhile, Giovanni Lopez wants to call a timeout now that they've earned possession off the draw, and that is a unique feature to lacrosse, of course, that you can retain possession. You see it, I feel like, more on the boys' side of things once you're trying to clear, but not a bad timeout here by Coach Lopez. They've won their 4th consecutive draw, and trailing 3-0. I think he just wants to make sure they get a good offensive possession down on this end.
Something that Blaine did against the Centennial team that I thought was interesting was really working the time off the clock. We've seen Spring Lake Park do that a little bit. They've definitely taken more time, like we said, of possession here on offense when they've had it. But Blaine really just kind of passed the ball around, took their sweet time. Where, again, Centennial is such a transition team, so they can score right away. But if they don't have the ball, they obviously can't score. So
right. Exactly.
Blaine did a good job of that. I'm curious if Lopez will instruct them maybe to do more of that so this game doesn't get too far out of reach as we go into these next few minutes.
It's not a bad strategy. I mean, make sure you're very patient on offense because we've seen it. Obviously, a team like Centennial thrives on turnovers, forcing turnovers, and then transitioning from defense to offense, and they can really make you pay. So it's interesting. Centennial has a 3-0 lead. We haven't even seen them go to work on offense.
Yeah.
Really. It's just been Ella O'Hearn in transition, and she is so tough to stop in the open field, especially one-on-one. So I think this, like we said, I think this is a good timeout by Coach Lopez to try to set something up. And, yeah, if you're Spring Lake Park, you don't necessarily want to shoot too quickly because you probably just know that you really, you might be at a disadvantage if you get into a track meet with Centennial.
So this is something different, too. A lot of the games, Centennial's had their JV team play before the varsity team. I don't believe that happened today. I don't believe there was any JV game today.
There was.
There was.
There was, in fact, I believe, but it was on the other turf field that's next to the stadium.
Oh.
So they just didn't use this main Cougar Stadium here at Centennial.
Well, then it will be a similar situation as a lot of these Centennial ladies, not a ton of girls on the roster, are double dipping. So they're playing a half a JV and coming over and playing varsity.
Okay.
So we might see some more tired legs. So we've seen a lot of fast-paced transition, but curious as the game goes on if they'll be able to keep that up.
Yeah, if they slow things down, we'll have to watch out for that as the Panthers go back to work out of the timeout. Holding it here is Oman behind the net. Gives it to Brooke Ellison, who is the second leading goal scorer with 7 goals and an assist on the season. She still controls it, watched by Olivia Washin. Fed near side for Sarah Schwartz. Off of the stick of Cadence Gordon. And out of play, and so that's the kind of unforced turnover that they don't want to have, or that they were hoping to avoid, rather. So now Centennial will go to work trying to clear it. Loose ball on the ground. Scooped up by the Cougars. Good speed as Addison Slotsfeet hands it back. Thrown ahead and snagged by Nyla Haney. Haney, 26 goals and 19 assists on the season. And that's the thing, is if you stop Haney, you stop O'Hearn, you still got to deal with Cody and some of the other offensive weapons that Centennial has.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different players coming at you. It's tough to just focus on one.
Yeah, and then like many good teams, right, where you can't just focus on stopping one person. You know, like this player right here, and that was well defended as O'Hearn had it knocked from her stick by Taylor Falvey, and Falvey gets the turnover. Now she'll try to clear it for the Panthers. Falvey splitting Cougar defenders.
Is that the only time the Cougars had the offensive attack and no goal came out of it?
Right, right. Now they actually tried to run something and nothing came of it. Meanwhile, attack on the other end as Falvey carries it in deep in the zone and then has it knocked from her stick. Good recovery, though. Sarah Schwartz assessing her options and gives to the captain Ngenia, and you could see her leadership on the basketball court, so no surprise to see her wear the captain's armband in lacrosse as well. She beats her defender, draws the slide, tries to shoot. It's loose and shoveled in the goal. They're going to say she's in the crease. I think so. So Centennial will try to clear through their goaltender, Peyton Bresney. 6-2 record coming in with a 1.50 goals against average and 78 saves for the first-year goalie. Cougars on the attack. They'll bring it wide, and now wouldn't be surprised to see them try to run something here as Ella O'Hearn carries it. Goal line extended. Gives it to Cody. Cody, inside roll. Watched by Falvey. Cody draws the slide. Up top to Haney. Haney feeds a cutter, bounce shot, and they score. Nice play there as Sabrina Francis, the senior, made the nice cut. In many ways, Blythe, you played basketball at a high level in college.
Yeah.
You must see a lot of the same strategic things. It must look kind of familiar,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely when these ladies are cutting and getting open for each other, it's exactly like you're saying. You're seeing these sports kind of transition both where if they're playing basketball, like we said, Ngeni plays basketball, you have some of that vision and that ability, the agility back and forth to make those cuts.
You can set screens in this game, and there's a lot of, kind of one-on-one defending like there is in basketball, so a lot of similarities. 18:01 to go first half. 4-0 Centennial on top of Spring Lake Park. The Panthers controlling the draws. That's definitely one thing they're doing well. Falvey gives for a cutting in Genia. Hounded by Haney. I'm talking to Coach Gary Nelson before the game. He said a lot of these kids, it'll depend on how their club seasons go, but they certainly hope to play college lacrosse and expect to at a high level. Again, a lot of youth on the roster, a lot of the best players, sophomores and a couple juniors.
You mentioned there might be something else on some of these ladies' minds as some special dances coming up, isn't it?
That's true. The 2021 prom will take place next weekend, so certainly a topic of conversation among the team. Nice catch as Haney leads the attack in transition. Decides to patiently wait for her teammates to arrive. And they look to get set offensively. Definitely a lot more in the boys' game, anyway, a lot more subbing on the fly, and a lot more traffic just coming in and out from the sidelines. In the stick of Callie Cody behind, 25 goals and 8 assists on the season, having a magnificent season in her own right. Tries to feed a cutter and pass the stick of Lashen. They can't track it down, so it'll turn over to the blue and white.
Especially with some of those ladies playing a half of JV coming over too, probably affects what that subbing looks like for him if he doesn't have quite the players that maybe in an ideal situation. I bet the guys probably are still looking pretty good maybe with numbers.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, no, I mean the roster size is pretty comparable, but they just sub in like entire lines, right? So most teams will run at least 2 lines of midfielders. They'll always have the same 3 attack and always the same 3 defenders, but then they'll rotate in the midfielders, and you have defensive midfielders, you have people that only face off, you have like a lot more specialists in the guys' game. But
we got our expert here, former lacrosse player himself.
Yeah, played at a was a college player, but you know, not of any acclaim. Let's put it that way. Good carry here by Oman. Spring Lake Park doing a better job of trying to sustain that possession. Good move by Ellison behind the cage. It's all about communication. Much like in basketball, it's all about communication on defense when it comes to lacrosse. Whether you're switching defenders or you're having some help defense come, if you get beat, it is imperative to talk. And Genia, a good first step. She gets to the cage and scores. Maddie Ngenia showing what she can do with the lacrosse stick for Spring Lake Park's first goal of the night.
You brought up the leadership with Ngenia earlier, and it shows, of course, getting them on the board can only add to their confidence as they go down the stretch trying to come back now, still down 3 goals.
And if that looked familiar, Blythe, it's exactly what she does in basketball. Attacks from the top of the key, gets to the rim, in this case gets to the net, and if you don't have a slide come, if you don't have help come from the weak side, or a slide as it's known in lacrosse, if the slide is late, Ngenia is going to score because her first step is so quick, and she's so direct in getting to the goal as it is. Well, first draw control 1 here by Centennial in the possession of Nyla Haney. Quickly to Callie Cody. Cody behind O'Hearn. Back to Haney. Puts her toe in the ground. Oh, great save. Wow, off the cross of the stick. Still in the possession of Centennial as they have it behind the cage. Cody feeds out in front. Another nice save made by Erica Holm. 76 saves for the sophomore coming into the game. Those were point-blank chances that she saved.
Yeah, great. And that's exactly what Coach Lopez was saying before the game, is that their goalie has been tremendous this season, definitely stepping up, and that incline in save percentage, just doing a great job back there.
Schwartz gets it in, passes it over to Ngenia. trying to hit a cutter, and it's well read by the Centennial defense. 14 minutes left in the first half, a 4-1 Cougars lead. Feels like they haven't scored in a little while, though.
And I'm curious what that timeout looked like, what Gary Nelson was telling his ladies, because I feel like it changed what that transition game we continued to see. Is it their legs being tired? Is it Coach Nelson asking them to work on setting up different plays?
Yeah, perhaps running some offense. It's in the stick of Alyssa Levine. 3 goals and 5 assists for the senior. See a lot of seniors and a lot of sophomores for Centennial. And it bodes well for the future of Gary Nelson's program. This is one of those talented sophomores, Ella O'Hearn, working on a hat trick as they sort out what looks like a play. Uses a screen, gets middle. Good switch by the Panthers defense. Sabrina Francis back to Haney. Little give and go to O'Hearn. And it looks like it's going to be a slash. Looks like it's going to be a slash, so I believe O'Hearn will have a restart.
It's looking good for a hat trick.
Yeah, I don't think you can be quite that close.
Those great saves by Holmes, so
Kira,
I guess I can't say that yet.
That's true. Kira Hedke tried to sneak in and position herself well, and on goal, and she scores. So indeed, Ella O'Hearn finishes off the first half hat trick off the quick restart. And it's not quite a penalty shot, but it feels like one, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I know it's fun to see it when, of course, especially when it's going to be a hat trick for whoever when they get that opportunity, because you're like, okay, I have a good feeling about this. The percentage is definitely in their favor.
I have seen a couple times, though, where the person has a clear lane to the goal, and then the defense plays the angles well, and they've had to turn away and have not gotten a shot off. One of the Champlain Park attackers who had 6 goals in the game wouldn't even charge in. She would just reach back and absolutely lace it. Had such a powerful shot, and that's how she scored 2 of her 6 goals. But in this game, Centennial has a 5-1 lead. Ella O'Hearn has a first half hat trick and 3 of the 5 goals. Another transition opportunity for the Cougars. There's a shot and a score for Olivia Washin. The junior, 7 goals on the season now. And this is where when it rains, it can pour in lacrosse, especially if you're winning those draws.
Yeah, and we saw Spring Lake Park doing so well with that to start the game. Now, of course, these last couple minutes.
Yeah, Centennial has won the last couple draw controls or the last couple draws, and it was led to goals. But I think that's a great observation. They have been more deliberate offensively, so you do wonder if they're just trying to work on things and trying to get organized. But, you know, you take goals where you can get them, and if they're coming in transition, then that works too. And Genia and Washin, after she just scored the last goal for the Cougars, all pops in the air. And again, it's controlled by Centennial. And it's going to be a long night if the Cougars continue to win these draws. Neela Haney, good pass down low. Great save, another good save. Erica Holmes stoned.
Coach Lopez was right, giving me that insight here before the game of how well Holmes was doing back there in net.
Yeah, no question about it. She stoned the Cougar attacker who was trying to score. I believe that was Sydney Chance Farley. She has it again, though. Bounce shot, and that goes off the side of the post. It's picked up on the far side by Neela Haney. Haney off the score sheet so far today. Cradles with the left hand. Up top for Francis. You can just tell the players that are super comfortable with the ball on their stick, like O'Hearn and like Haney. Down low on the doorstep. Speaking of O'Hearn, and her shot missed after she turned kind of like a post move, you know, if, if that looked familiar. the hook shot of lacrosse shots, I guess.
That was probably one of the first times she went low. I feel like she hasn't gone low, overly low, I guess, like that.
Well, the bounce shot can be super effective on turf.
Definitely.
And it's all about changing the goalie's sight, right? If you shoot at the same level where their eyes are at, it's easier to save. Good move here. And a great save. Outstanding again from Erica Holm, this time to deny Haney on the doorstep. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. She went high. The goalie's stick was already at her eye level. So it was easy, not easy, but it was
more probable. I don't know.
It was the easier play for her to just step toward it, cut down the angle, and make the save. Stone Haney, as they say in lacrosse parlance. Great save. Another one by Holm, and she is, despite being down 6-1, keeping her team in this game. There's a little scoop shot, and that goes wide. O'Hearn is closest to it for the Cougars. Under 10 minutes left to play, first half. Chance Farley tries to feed a cutter. It goes all the way out top. Now we're seeing that sustained offensive possession for Centennial. Cody tries to split defenders and loses it.
And now we're seeing quite a bit of possession from Centennial, which we had not seen.
And look how much off-ball movement there is, too, for Centennial.
Yeah.
Always a cutter, always trying to set screens for each other off ball. Chance Farley tries to pass, and it was deflected, and it's taken back, and now sprinting the other way with it is Falvey.
You missed the opportunity for her taking a chance, you know. Just kidding.
Yeah. Chance Farley trying to create chances. She's got 7 goals and 6 assists, so she's equal opportunity. I was looking up some stats for another lacrosse game today, and one of the players I was looking at has 43 goals and no assists.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is a lot of goals.
Wow.
3rd in the state, but no assists. Cody gets past her defenders, centers it looking for Francis. Oh, good job to knock it free. It finds its way to Haney's stick, and she decides wisely to not shoot it. Instead, she passes it out high to Francis. She goes down, so I think we might have another restart, this time from a slight angle.
I got to go back to this just because I think it's funny, but I feel like some people, of course, have last names that can just easily work with those puns or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Where, obviously, I never did. I don't think a whale would ever, I guess maybe, could whale it, but most of the time that was never going to happen.
Good defense from behind to knock it out of the stick of Francis before she could shoot. Still in the possession of Centennial. Center looking for Chance Farley. And almost kicked into the net, but it's right into the stick of Holm.
It is similar to soccer, but not that, not quite that.
There is, I believe, the goals when you do a kicking motion, the goal is waved off, I believe. Transition chance now with Ellison for the Panthers. They haven't had the ball in what feels like a little while. Scooped up by Kira Hedke. Now it's important for Spring Lake Park to get a good shot out of this chance. The drive from Omen loses out, however, and again the Cougars control. Nice to see the kids get some decent weather to play in, though.
I know.
As we talked about at the top. Great.
When you said 77 degrees, I was like, wow, I guess I didn't look at how warm. I knew it felt really warm, but that's so cool.
Centering pass looking for Cody from O'Hearn is intercepted. Read well by Holm. But again, quickly back the other way is Levine. Well, these scoring chances can kind of come out of nowhere, though. Little give and go to Levine on the doorstep. And infraction turns it back over to the Panthers. They want a quick restart.
Winner is Claire Francis. Claire Francis to the press box.
I assume that's Sabrina's mom. Knocked out of play on the far side. This is a sport, though, that's growing in popularity, growing in numbers, and, you know, colleges, when they're adding sports, they're very often adding lacrosse.
Which I'm sure makes a lot of these younger athletes excited, just maybe for some of those chances.
Oh, for sure. 2-on-1. Fed across. Cody on the doorstep scores. Great little give and go. Ella O'Hearn picks up her first assist of the day, her 10th of the season. She's now got 41 points.
Callie Cody, assist number 15, Ella O'Hearn.
Cody from O'Hearn, and when O'Hearn hasn't been scoring tonight, she's been assisting. 4 points in this first half, responsible for 4 of the 7 Cougars' goals. 5:08 left to play, 7-1. Blythe, what has impressed you about Centennial so far?
Well, if we were talking right out of the gates, it was the transition game, just because always Centennial has been so known, and just to see them coming out of the gates, I know you said maybe some of the mentality of the ladies prior to the game was maybe thinking about prom, maybe thinking about all these things, but still able to hit the ground running. But I feel like lately, of course, Centennial being able to kind of settle into the game, win some of these draws, and just hold possession. They've really had the ball for quite some time in the attack, and not allowing Spring Lake Park to go the other way. How about you?
Same, yeah. They've just, you know, when they've taken advantage of their chances, and they really haven't allowed too many good looks for Spring Lake Park either. And you know, they're taking care of business at home, and which is what they wanted to do. They're obviously, you know, trying to keep up with the Maple Grove and Groves and Champlin Parks, as that is shoveled into the goal by Cody. Nifty looking shot from her. Her second goal in as many minutes. And great feed across to make it 8-1.
So this may not seem as fitting now as what just happened, but I was just going to mention, of course, also what's impressed me in this game is just the saves by Holm. Obviously
sure.
not that last second, but throughout this game, she's had so many close calls. You think about when someone, just like in soccer, just like anything, when an athlete is getting those opportunities, it's not always just the goalkeeper. Of course, it's coming from the team allowing those, but she's had some close range shots that she's been able to deny and not make this game get further behind for Spring Lake Park.
Yeah, it's 8-1 Cougars. That's a great point, because it could be a lot worse if not for the heroics of Erica Holm, just a sophomore. As a couple Panthers collide out there on the draw, and it's in the possession of Centennial. They want one more. It's Haney who scores. And when I say one more, I just mean on this possession. They surely want more than one more. But Neela Haney, 27 goals on the season now.
She was feeling left out of the action, so
Yes.
she needed to get her own before halftime here.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get an assist. That's a 5-0 run for Centennial. He started 4-0, and now they're on a 5-0 run. Haney has a goal and an assist in this half. Interesting, she hasn't taken any of the draw controls yet. It's been Lashin who's taken all of them. Haney leads the team with 38 draw controls, but yeah, just in transition, caught it and scored comfortably. So certainly Centennial, for as much possession as they may have wanted to have offensively, will also attack the goal when they need to. And those draw control, the fact that they can turn that possession into goals so quickly makes it very tough on the opponent. And here they come again, the red and white. That pass out of the reach. And then Getty up battling with Haney before it goes over the end line. But yeah, and Holmes saves. I mean, the saves are nice, but it's not like she's saving outside shots. She's saving, point blank opportunities that Centennial 9 times out of 10 scores on. So it's been very impressive from her in this first half.
Especially you noting that she's just a sophomore. You think about having a tremendous goalie and then getting to keep them for years to come, because I feel like with soccer, for me, I feel like some years we'd have an awesome goalkeeper, but that would be when they got to be a senior or their junior year, and so you only had him for a couple of years. So knowing that she's a sophomore and they get to have her possibly here for another couple of years after this.
Yep, now they run the weave up top. Nice little move by Carly Lasis. First time we've called her name. You recognize the weave there. Another save by Holm to deny Cody, who's on a hat trick. Scooped up by the speedy Hedke. Gives it for Ingenia. Good outlet pass, finds its way into the stick of Ellison, who may be the fastest player on this field for SLP. She's watched by Lashin. Nice move by Ellison to get in front, and she scores! Spring Lake Park gets their second goal of the first half, and this one comes courtesy of a nice move by Brooke Ellison. The sophomore gets her 8th.
Spring Lake Park looked great on that possession there, seeing them just taking it to the net. And I feel like sometimes when they've been on offense, they've really taken their time, worked that around, and sometimes that can be helpful. But I feel like she had it set on her mind. That's what she wanted to do, and she did it.
Yeah, no, very decisive. Got the defender hung up on the cage. There wasn't enough help coming from Centennial, and I loved what you could hear on the field from the Spring Lake Park people. Keep doing that on the field from one player to another. And indeed, yes, win possession. And that was one actually where the save by Holm went right to a defender, and then they kind of did to Centennial what the Cougars have been doing all game, transitioning from defense to offense and scoring a quick goal. Violation, going to do it again.
And that's sometimes what teams need to have happen. They just need to see it happen once to show them, okay, we could just do that. Let's do that again. Like you said, they're telling each other, let's do that again. That was fun.
Right. If I remember from basketball, too, SLP was quite a second-half team. So we'll see if that happens as Lashin sprints around Falvey and gets to the front. She gets bumped. No call. Recovers with the ground ball. Now we'll see if you start seeing a little more rotation. It's in the stick of Ella O'Hearn. O'Hearn watched by Ingenia. Ingenia leaning on O'Hearn, trying to prevent her from getting around, and Ingenia certainly athletic enough to keep up. She gives it off behind cage to Haney. Haney comes to the front, feeds in front. There's another save by Holm. Wow. Stoned Sydney Chance Farley at this point, this time.
Yeah, great defense by Spring Lake Park. Of course, just even what we saw of Ngeni tracking down O'Hearn and making sure she wasn't a threat. But then, of course, like you said, the save by Holm.
Yeah, because, I mean, it was a great pass, and Chance Farley had it in her stick right on the doorstep. And again, by just staying tall and being aggressive, Holm read it well and made the save.
And I think it's tough. You know, sometimes goaltenders, of course, if you have some scored on you, you can hang your head and kind of let some more go in. But I feel like she's been in this one mentally ready to take on any of those saves she needs to down the stretch.
Well, she certainly knows that she's going to be busy.
Yes, yeah.
As we are nearing halftime, 1:25 left to go. 9-2 Centennial over Spring Lake Park here on North Metro TV. Ellison using her speed to the front, scores!
They did it again!
They did it again. They repeated what they did just moments ago, and Brooke Ellison now has 2 tonight. And Spring Lake Park has scored 2 straight to make it a 6-goal game.
Yeah, and like I said, you build confidence from those runs. You see it happen, you feel that, and it's kind of the muscle memory. Of course, you don't have the muscle memory that quick, but it's kind of the same idea of you just did it, your team knows, you're working on that same page, and She looked like she was eager and ready to have it happen again.
Well, and we've seen from Ingenia and from Ellison, their most effective attacks have been when they've gotten ahead of steam and just gone downhill and attacked. A very direct attack using their speed and athleticism to get to the goal. And Centennial's has just not been able to cope for the most part. Where they have been able to cope is on the offensive end.
Yes.
They've got quite a few skilled players, and they are certainly demonstrating that tonight here at home. Nice move to get into the open field by Schwartz. She loses it, however. Hedke. Schwartz. Stolen back, and here comes Haney. Long outlet pass up for Cody. Cody gets around a couple defenders. I'm not sure why she didn't choose to shoot, but she passed it back. And ducking out and bringing it back out is Levine. Haney, or this is O'Hearn, beg your pardon. Inside roll, well defended though. The slide comes. Gives it to Cody, who turns and fires and scores.
Just in the nick of time here before halftime, only 18 seconds before, so certainly she knew the clock, even though the clock was on the other side of the field.
So Cody wanted a hat trick, and she joins O'Hearn in accomplishing that here in the first half to make it an 11-3 game. As you said, just before half. And they were very, deliberate in that. I think there was a couple times where they could have gone toward the goal, but they really worked to make sure that they got the right shot. And now it'll be Haney and Ingenia to take the draw. And we can see why Haney has 39 draw controls, just popped it to herself. And gets it quickly to O'Hearn. O'Hearn moving from left to right, still within her stick. Tried to feed it in front, and a whistle as it hits the crease. I believe Centennial may have taken a timeout, though.
I believe it's halftime.
And there was just no whistle. Where was the horn? Where was the horn? Well, thanks to my very smart color commentator, Blythe Whaley, we know that we have reached halftime here at Cougar Stadium on this beautiful Monday night for lacrosse. And at halftime, Centennial enjoys an 11-3 lead. They got first half hat tricks from Callie Cody and Ella O'Hearn, a pair of sophomore attack players. And they looked really good. But credit to Spring Lake Park for hanging in there as well. And Brooke Ellison's got a couple goals. Erica Holm has stood tall in net. And it was an enjoyable and competitive first half. Blythe, your thoughts at halftime?
Yeah, I would just say it was neat to see Spring Lake Park feeding in a couple of those late goals. They weren't scoring for a good chunk of that middle part of the game, but getting to see Ellison start to show some life for Spring Lake Park later on, and so knowing possibly we're going to see some more action on the offensive attack from them in the second half. You mentioned that possibly maybe they're more of a second half team, so we might get to see just more in general, but I think they built some confidence, and of course the Cougars just all around showing just that they're a force and they're not taking this game lightly. They still want to score as many as they can, but they're going to want quality goals. If they wanted to score as many as they could obviously run that transition game more like they were at the beginning of this one, but how can they continue to prepare and get better throughout the season? By working the ball around and finding those openings, which they've done a great job throughout the game.
Yeah, not just taking any shot, but the right shot. Certainly something that you would think Coach Gary Nelson would be emphasizing during his halftime speech. That's it for us during halftime. We'll be back to bring you second half action coming up shortly It's halftime here at Centennial. The Cougars on top of the Spring Lake Park Panthers 11-3 here on North Metro TV. Two teams have traded sides here as we get set to start the second half from Centennial. Bill Huppin, my broadcast partner Blythe Whaley, and it's an 11-3 game in favor of Centennial as we start the second half, and Spring Lake Park, as they did a lot of times in that first half, wins the draw. So they'll get it into the offensive end to our left. And the stick of Ellison, who has 2 of the 3 Panthers goals.
And which we noted in the first half was just they made up their mind. They had the decision to score, and we saw her just attack in that first half. So if she continues to do that in the second, we might see some more from her.
Better defended there from Centennial as they switched defenders. They'll force, and the Cougars, I feel like if they just force Spring Lake Park to work it around, they'll be content from a defensive standpoint. Spring Lake Park would love to just do a little bit better of a job with ball control, and then of course finish some of those possessions with goals. Loose on the deck, Schwartz in there battling, and it's scooped up. And earning the push is Francis. Francis will restart things for the Cougars as they look to clear. Long outlet pass finds its way into the stick of Chance Farley. She gets middle on her left hand. Tries to pass it and actually gets knocked right back to her. In the possession of Ella O'Hearn, who had a nice first half, 3 goals and an assist.
Yeah, just a tremendous season again for her. We've seen some great numbers in her 8th grade season, and now again showing us tonight the show.
Yeah, certainly has future college lacrosse player written all over as you see Centennial kind of running the weave up top, finds its way into the stick of O'Hearn. Who, what I like about her too is she's very patient, does not force the issue. Crosses in front of Ingenia, and Ingenia whistled for the foul, just kind of throws her hands up. It'll lead to an opportunity here, though, as O'Hearn will have an angle on Holm. Holm readying for the attack. O'Hearn has already scored once from the restart. Charges in. Backhanded shot off the post. But Haney comes in and swoops through and shoots it. Cody is closest to it, so it'll stay here on this end with Centennial. There's a flurry of shots flying at the SLP goal. As the ref holds things up, and Cody will re-enter it for Centennial.
Again, some great possession for Centennial. We saw a lot of that in the second half as they started to take their time on the attack.
You wonder if O'Hearn can even see her teammates. She's watched closely by Ingenia. Ingenia ties her up and nearly forces a turnover, but it's once again going to lead to a restart for O'Hearn. This time from the left side. The whistle. O'Hearn to the middle, scores. It's really tough to stop a goal scorer like that, huh, Blythe, when she gets multiple restarts in one possession.
Yeah, you see how heavily they have to defend her, trying to do what they can to be able to stop her. But, of course, when you're put in this position to have her get that restart on your goaltender, it's bound to happen again to find the back of the net.
Yeah, she missed the first off the post, but she made no mistake there. Got to the middle and scored. She has 32 goals now on the season, leading all goal scorers ahead of Cody and Haney for Centennial. Though Cody up to 28, trying to keep pace. 12-3 our score. 21-18 left to go. And I beg your pardon, it's actually 11-3. Is officially our score. Cody has 3, O'Hearn has 4, Centennial has 11. They win the draw once more, and Washington gets it into the offensive area. Chance Farley trying to dig it out. Well played, though, by Chloe Solorzano. Solorzano. Easy for me to say. Chloe
Did better than I could.
Solorzano forced the turnover on the far side. And the stick of Haney. Neela Haney switches hands. Beautiful passing, and Cody has her shot saved again by Holm. Cody a couple of times just caught it going away from goal and then just tried to sort of flip it back towards the net. Ultimately, it'll be in the possession of Centennial, and now they'll try to just work it around. Look at the stick handling by Haney, snagging it with one hand and then cradling and just getting it restarted in the stick of Francis in the middle. Centennial boys program has made the state tournament several times recently as well, so this is certainly a lacrosse school. As Ingenia forces a turnover on Francis and then draws the foul. Ducks her shoulder underneath one charge and carries it into the zone. She should just take it all the way to the goal. Ingenia thought about doing that. Instead, she gives it to a teammate in the stick of Cadence Gordon. Trying to feed a cutter in Schwartz. It's loose on the deck, and of course, who scoops it up but Neela Haney. And just one of those players, it's really tough to get the ball from her. Charging in. Great catch by Cody, and she flipped it across. And what did I just say? She caught it. It was a high pass, but she hauled it in and then just flipped it as she was going away past Erica Holm. What a goal by Callie Cody.
These ladies certainly showing their athleticism. Man, oh my, Cody is snagging that one out of the sky. But definitely, proves why she's had so many goals this season.
Yeah, even more impressive through the binoculars is kind of an up-close look at it. A great view of her, and it was the great off-ball movement, right? Because she was goal line extended. She cut middle in front of the goal, made herself available, had to reach up to catch it, but then all in one fell swoop caught it and threw it in past home. What a goal by Callie Cody. Now it is 12-3. And there's 19-13 and counting left to go here in this second half. Centennial very much looking like they will move to 8-2 on the season and 7-2 in conference play. SLP being shut out thus far in the second half. Plenty of time to change that, though. Ellison on a hat trick, cradles behind the net. Switches, gets to the front, goes down, and I think she's going to have a shot. And what you're really noticing with Spring Lake Park is they are just taking advantage of any Centennial defensive indecision. She might try to wind up and fire this one. Certainly looks like it. As soon as she hears the whistle, there it is. Oh, and it fell out of her stick, so didn't quite get it on net. It's loose on the ground. Scooped up. Here's a chance. Bounce shot that hits the side netting. And the whistle gives it back to Centennial. Peyton Bresney, we really hadn't had to call her name much tonight. Hasn't faced many shots. She starts the clearance. Gets into the stick of Lashin. Falvey trying to avoid Cody.
Seeing some attack coming from Spring Lake Park, though.
Yeah, Ellison trying to get that hat trick. Gets goal line extended. Feeds it back for an Ingenia. And then she gets bumped into, and so I think she may have a chance. And if you notice what Ellison did there, is very kind of hockey-like. She got to the goal line, extended, got behind the goal, drew all the defense, and then Ngenia slid in behind, and she fed her out in front. She couldn't get the shot off, but she did draw the foul. So she'll line up at that red half circle, and on the whistle, try to score. Gets to the front. And a good save made by Bresny. Scooped up behind the net by Omen. Now Spring Lake Park will try to have some sustained offensive possession. And as soon as I say that, who comes in to force the turnover but Haney? What have you thought of her efforts tonight, Blythe?
Yeah, man, oh my. It's fun to see, like I said, these ladies getting to come out and just prove what we've seen even on paper. Getting to see it with our own eyes. We've seen her, of course, have a decent amount of goals on the season, but fair enough with just the draw controls, and as you pointed out, just when she tips it to herself, when you throw it up like that.
Yeah, you see the numbers, and they're very impressive, but to your point, to actually see the skill in action is quite impressive. Speaking of impressive, Erica Holm made another really nice save. Back in the stick of Francis, bounce shot, Holm makes another stop. It's back in Francis's stick, but a whistle stops play with 14:45 and counting left. Holm came in with 76 saves. I think she's made about 50 saves tonight.
Feels like it, definitely.
She's made some really, really good ones.
So these are the type of games that goaltenders come out of, and I think you have to hold your head high because you look at those stats of what you really accomplished back there, and sure, maybe you didn't get to stop all of them, but you stopped a huge percentage of, like we said, those close range shots that are so tough.
Haney gets by. Oh, and what a shot. Powers it past Holm as she ducked her shoulder and got just enough room on Ngenia to get the shot off and just rifled that lefty shot by Holm. Neela Haney gets goal number 2 today. She's also got an assist, makes it 13-3. Just 3 goals in the second half for Centennial thus far, but it's been their stars, their star performers, Hearn, Cody, and Haney responsible for the goals.
And if you're Coach Nelson, that's what you want to see happening in a game that maybe your team is up. You'd love to see these ladies still doing what they do best and continuing to have those reps and those repetitions working together as the season goes on. Of course, missing a year, you didn't get to play with each other. So now to continue that and get some of those touches back between each other, I'm sure just will help going into playoffs.
Yeah, with chemistry. And just look at the speed to take the space and get into position. As Ella O'Hearn certainly showing, besides the skill, just the pure athleticism and speed, especially in girls lacrosse, can be such a difference because defenders really can't be physical. So there's very little ways to negate it. Francis, a nice catch down low, and she draws the foul. A really good find by Cody. We talked about such unselfish play, too, from the Cougars. They're really willing to share it around, get assists and goals. And I don't know, if they're distracted by prom, they're certainly not showing it tonight. They
got all that on warm-ups.
they've been sharp. They've been methodical in their performance tonight. Francis charges in. Good save again off the helmet. As Holmes stopped that bounce shot, it's loose on the deck and picked up by Falvey. Here come the Panthers in transition through midfield. Panthers and Cougars doing battle. Falvey makes a move on Washington and can't put the finishing touch on the shot, but she was fouled in the process. So she should get a restart. How about just taking it from in front of her own goal and charging forward?
Falvey. I would have loved that.
I'm sure, yeah. Falvey, any athlete in the open field. Falvey, bounce shot, score! Spring Lake Park Their first goal of the second half comes courtesy of Taylor Falvey.
Taylor Falvey.
Well, it's interesting to me, the more and more I think about it, that I probably should have played lacrosse in the sense of, I would say, the athleticism in the fact of speed was normally one which I took to basketball, which I took to soccer. And now, like you said, I mean, of course, anyone who's seen me, I'm not the tallest tree you've ever seen. So the fact that some of these people on a lacrosse field, of course, aren't going to be taking me down to the turf necessarily all the time. Not as much as soccer or whatever.
Not unless they want to commit a foul.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. I feel like without some of that pressure, I wonder what that would have looked like.
Well,
go back in time.
It's also too bad that it wasn't a bigger sport back when you were, know, when you were playing, right? It was growing, but it's not like it is now.
Yeah.
Good pass in the middle, and home beaten this time by Noelle Hemmer, ninth grader, on for the first time as Cody's still out there, but wouldn't be surprised. I guess Haney got the assist there. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of substitutions. But Hemmer makes it 14-4. Clock continues to run with 11 and a half minutes left in this second half. And it would have been a perfect, because, right, soccer's in the fall, right?
Yep.
Basketball's in the winter, so you could have played.
Track, though. The track.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was always tough. I feel like every sport, especially growing up, it's like you have the off season of something else, too. So when I was doing basketball, my soccer team was like, well, we have soccer practice in the winter. You know what I mean? So it's like you're kind of always going back and forth. So to try to put another one, it was even tough to convince myself I was going to do track, because I was like, gosh, there was always soccer in the spring. It's starting up again. You're going through the summer to go back to the fall season for high school. But
it's a juggling act, isn't it?
It really is. But when you love to play all of them, you might as well.
Yeah, and they say that that's what's best for kids as far as their development as athletes, to be sort of multi-sport instead of specializing too young.
Yeah, I'm a firm advocate. Definitely enjoyed my time.
And Genia draws a couple slides and passes it off looking for Omen. Good. Well defended there, though, by Centennial to force the turnover. Still loose on the deck. What a catch by Cody along the sideline. Transition now is O'Hearn with Cody to her right. Passes it to her left, trying to find Mallory Hefferman. But instead, it'll be backed out by Haney. Haney, even though she's just a junior, she is seems to be really the leader, the straw that stirs the drink for the Centennial offense. We're inside of 10 minutes to go in the game, a 14-4 lead for Centennial. In the stick of Callie Cody. And they're definitely not on the attack, and it's more just looking to feed from behind. But like hockey, you can have two players from behind and then feed as O'Hearn goes to work. Inside roll, knocked free though, well defended by Falvey. It's loose on the deck on the far side, still in the possession of Centennial. And winning those ground balls, Blythe, so important, as far as possession change, as far as transition opportunities. And Spring Lake Park right here wins a ground ball and tries to get into the offensive zone. Whistle stops play. But that can really set the tone of a game, is who is winning the 50-50 balls of the ground balls.
Yeah, we've seen that today, and especially when you think about what Centennial brings to every game. We talk about transition game, but definitely we're seeing them also winning those ground balls.
Yeah, especially if the ball is, if teams are not careful with it and they're on the deck, and then the ball's on the deck. As Ngenia gets to the front, loses it. A flag stops play. They're going to say a hold, so I think Ngenia will have another chance to get her second goal of the game.
She wasn't able to convert on the last opportunity, but I feel like this is so well suited for her. We talk about just how direct she is. That's what she likes to do.
She's got it on the left side. Bresny waits. And Genia splits defenders, and good, well defended. She gets to the front, though, and Bresny comes up with it. Good defense played by, among others, Neela Haney. And that's what's impressive about Haney is not only is she initiating offense, but she's also played a really good defensive game as well. Anna Jarpy, who comes in, the sophomore, with 5 goals and 7 assists, has not cracked the score sheet tonight, but she has it in her stick at the X. It was 7.5 minutes left in the second half. Callie Cody not scoring no-look goals this time, but she gets to the front with the left hand and scores. That's an impressive goal in its own right. Wow.
Yeah, we're not just seeing some of these, loosely fed in goals. We're just seeing these spectacular goals put on by the Cougars. And Callie Cody has been the culprit of a few of those tonight.
5 goals now tonight for Cody. She's up to 30 on the season. She had a hat trick in the first half. She's got 2 in the second half, and that was just a simple right-handed, spins over her left shoulder, switches to the left hand, and then fired it past home into the left upper left corner of the net. So pretty effective dodge from the top by Callie Cody.
It looked effortless. It looked like it was just second nature.
Yep. And that's the thing is if you look at, obviously the O'Hearns and Haneys and Francis and Codys and on the Centennial Cougars team, they all seem to play with that kind of level of skill. And they win the draw. Washin charging forward, trying to split defenders, and she will instead get it to goal line extended. Passed out front. Chance Farley somehow snared that. She backs it out. Ducks her shoulder, gets to the middle, loses it before she can shoot. Still in the possession of Centennial. Nice catch down low by O'Hearn. She sees Cody with 5 goals and knows she's got to keep up as there's a player down. O'Hearn gets to it first and scores her 5th.
You pointed it out. That's why she had to score.
I did. It was really predictive. I mean, Cody had just gotten her 5th. O'Hearn was like, oh, no, I've only got 33 goals. She's catching up to me. And, now she's got 33 goals, point of fact. 5 goals and an assist tonight for Ella O'Hearn. As she makes it 16-4. Her second goal of the second half, so she and Cody with 2 goals apiece in this second half. 16-4 Cougars.
As you noted, the time ticking down, 4 minutes, 44 seconds.
That clock will continue to run. Again, Centennial wins the draw through Washington. Chance Farley. Out top for Haney. Gives for Cody, and they'll run that weave at the top. Kept in on the far side by O'Hearn. I mean, does it seem like O'Hearn, Haney, and Cody have even left the field tonight?
Yeah, probably not. I feel like.
I don't think I've noticed them not on the field. Seemingly been involved in every play as Sydney Chance Farley controls it at the top. Weaving her way to the middle and misses the net, but closest to it, Cody tracks it down.
And that was kind of what Gary Nelson had told me earlier this season, of just don't have as many players as they have in years past.
Not as much depth.
But yeah, one day he asked if I wanted to suit up, and like I said, yes. I said, you can't ask me that question. I would definitely want to if I could. If I was eligible, I would come back.
I think the funnier point is that he thought you were a Centennial student.
Yeah, no, he knew I wasn't. He was like, no, they're like, well, we would like some more people, because he had some people that couldn't play or were out even that game, and they already had the smaller roster size. So he's like, it'd be awesome if we had a few more people. I'm like, yes, please. That'd be
actually,
fun.
I was gonna say that might be kind of fun. I mean, not if he's like, hey, go guard O'Hearn.
Yeah.
That's a tough ask. Transition chance. Falvey takes a bump, so she'll get a shot. Taylor Falvey has been one of the bright spots for Spring Lake Park tonight. 2 minutes to go in the game. Falvey on the restart. The captain charges forward. Bounce shot. She scores. Taylor Falvey has scored the last 2 for Spring Lake Park. She joins Brooke Ellison on the score sheet twice tonight for the Panthers.
And kudos to Spring Lake Park. Some teams go down by a few goals, and you can tell in their demeanor they've given up. And I think Spring Lake Park throughout this game has been in it. They're trying their hardest, and they're putting together goals, and some pretty nice ones here against this Cougar squad.
Yep, no question about it, and still playing hard despite the scoreline, which is always a credit to Giovanni Lopez and all the coaches. 1:15 and counting left to go, as that draw is quickly won by Haney. Now you would think Centennial would try to just have this one out. Chance now here for Spring Lake Park, and that bounce shot goes wide by Sophia Solorzano. Nailed it.
With just 49 seconds left, we got it.
Yeah, better late than never. Centennial, you would think, would get it into the offensive end and then just pass it around with less than a minute to go, but we'll see. Those goals won't score themselves, so Cody jogs around with it. Gives to Haney, 28 seconds left. Spring Lake Park has Chance Farley gets a shot off. That's over the end line, but Centennial closest to it. Spring Lake Park will fall to 2-8 on the season and 2-7 in conference play. And as we said, the Cougars 8-2 now and 7-2 in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Kind of keep pace with the Maple Groves and Champlin Parks of the conference as time expires here at Cougar Stadium. Blythe, final thoughts from you from this one?
Like I just noted, super glad that Spring Lake Park held their heads high, worked their way to find those tough goals against this tremendous. I mean, the Cougars are tremendous when you think of just the talent across the board. They have so many talented athletes, but Spring Lake Park does too, and they showed that they have some athletes that were able to step up here today and get some goals and also some amazing stops.
No question about it, and Coach Giovanni Lopez has some positives to take away from this one, to be sure. But Centennial, meanwhile, for Coach Gary Nelson, they, their stars came out and showed, right? Callie Cody, 5 goals tonight. Ella O'Hearn, 5 goals and an assist. What'd you see from the Cougars tonight?
Yeah, when you think about the Cougars, of course, you're thinking of Ella O'Hearn and just how talented she is in leading the way with goals coming into today, but just proving herself again, showing today and showing up, of course, to get them, but also, again, just those impact players. Haney, Cody, showing some, amazing athleticism in front of the net. Like you noted how many tricky shots she was able to just have and impressive plays, but across the board, I think, overall, Gary Nelson has to be proud that they continued strong throughout the game, being up by so many.
Yeah, it was a good bounce-back win tonight for the Cougars after they fell to Champlin Park on Friday night, 12-9. They come out on Monday and they defend their home turf with a decisive 16-5 victory over Spring Lake Park. So that'll do it For us here in Circle Pines, from our broadcast partner, Blythe Whaley, and our entire crew at North Metro TV, I'm Bill Hupp saying good night from Centennial, where the Cougars down the Panthers of Spring Lake Park in girls lacrosse, 16-5. You've been watching high school sports on North Metro TV.